New cash pay clients for you in the new year is exactly what we're up to today. All right. Now we are sitting here at the very beginning of December. It's the 9th, so we're a little ways in. And I want to encourage you to play chess rather than checkers. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that. But before I do, I'm Joy Houston, the CEO of HealAtScale. If you have any questions, issues, concerns as we're going through our conversation today, this is an interactive session, so that you're more than welcome to ask questions in the comments in the chat, and we'll pause, we'll make sure you're clear, and we'll move forward together. Okay. But when I say that for the process of gathering a whole big, healthy, yummy, abundant client wait list for you in January, and I want you to play chess, not checkers. What I'm asking you to do is I'm asking you to avoid the concept of just like scrambling for clients and actually think a little bit ahead. And the reason that I want you to do that now in December is whatever happened for you in this year. So, whatever happened for you in this calendar year financially, I hope it was amazing. I hope it was very abundant. I hope your company was growing like crazy. And I know that even if it was a little slower or less abundant that you would have liked, that you deserve to head into the next year ready to better your best. Okay. And sometimes when we think about bringing in the next wave of clients that we need, we can be a little bit too myopic about that. And so, why I'm asking you to play chess, not checkers, is I want you to start 2026 playing a little bit more strategic game. Okay. So let me go ahead and draw this out for you because I know some of us are visual learners and it would just help us understand. So we're going to cover first, what am I talking about by playing chess, not checkers? That's basically scrambling for clients in the moment when you need them, or being strategic in a way that you pull those clients in with something that is so easy to say yes to, so easy because it's a quick win, so easy because it doesn't cost them very much money, right? So it's not a big financial struggle for them to decide, oh, am I going to lay out 6, 7, 10K to work with you for 3 months or 6 months or whatever you do? Or can we get them a small win for a small investment that leads to a lot more people saying yes to the bigger offer a little bit down the line? Okay. And obviously when we're playing chess, not checkers, we're being as strategic as possible, right? So we want to think multiple moves ahead. So let's go ahead and draw this, like typically what we're doing when we're kind of in a panic for clients. Okay. We might think of this in two different ways. So let's go ahead and draw this out. Okay. So if we think about it like there's the checkers version, okay, where we're trying to just have a little bit of fun and make sure that everything's moving forward. And then there's the chess version where we're thinking multiple moves ahead. Okay. So if we're waiting until January to get clients, okay, then we're going to be playing a pretty quick game. And we're probably going to be looking for clients by doing all kinds of like social, right? And emails, right? And we're doing some chats and we're doing some sales calls. We'll call these sales. You guys might call them consults, right? Consultations. Okay. So we're doing all these consults and we're going straight for those things because we've got ourselves in a pickle where we're like, oh my gosh, I haven't been thinking about this. And I'm really focused on what I can do to get some money coming into the business. Okay. So you're just going straight for the gusto. You're going for the main thing that you want to sell. Okay. What I'm going to ask you to do is do something a little bit more strategic. And I'm going to ask that you do everything backwards. Okay. So we are going to start with the end in mind. Okay. So what we're basically going to do is we're going to think through, okay, that's a big fat pen. We don't need that. Okay. So we're going to think through what is the thing that we most want to sell in 2026. Okay. So we're going to start there. What is the thing that we most want to sell? We're going to refer to that as our main offer. Okay. So this is going to be our main offer. Okay. Let's say that for you, you are amazing at resolving a specific thing. So let's say, I don't know, you know what you are, right? Um Oh my gosh, that's so funny. She thought I was saying chestnut, not checkers. Chestnut, it's so holiday season, right? I feel like your reticular cortex is activated for the holiday season. Let's roast some chestnuts by the fire. You're so funny. Okay, so we're going to play chess, not checkers, okay? So, if we're being a little more strategic about things, then we're going to start with what is the main offer that we really want to sell. Okay. So let's say that you are an expert on a particular topic: fertility, resolving gut health problems, maybe you're hormone balancing genius. Doesn't matter to me, but you've got a main offer. In our example, we're going to say that this main offer is a 3K program. Okay. So let's say not 3K. That's probably not at all what you guys are charging. So let's just call it that's a 5K program. Okay. So let's say it's a 5K program and they're working with you for, I feel like that is even low for most of you, but we'll just roll with it. Okay. So I'm in California, so prices are way higher. So it depends where we are in the country. Okay. But let's say you've got a 5K package and it's 3 months of consulting with you, and it includes whatever you normally include, all your introductory assessments. Maybe you have some lab tests wrapped in there. Maybe you do the lab separate, but I want you to hold in your mind, what is that main offer that you want to sell a whole bunch of those. Okay. So if your goal is, okay, I want to have 20K months, then you want to be closing 4 of those 5K clients every month. Okay. So if that's the main offer that we want to sell, we want to start with that end in mind. Okay. And it doesn't matter what your offer is. You're just going to fill in the blank for what your offer is. Okay. So I'm just using 5K offer for, and I would say 3 months of 5K offer is really cheap. Where I live in San Diego, it would probably be more like 7.5. So we've got our 3-month offer, that we want to sell. Okay. Now, some of you, if you're in my world, you have multiple ways of reaching the same objective, right? You've got the 5K offer to work with 3 months, and you might also have a downsell into like a $1,500 1.5K, and that might be like the group program. Okay, totally fine. Doesn't matter to me what you want to sell. I just want you to keep in mind the main thing that you want to sell the most of. Okay, so spoiler alert, the people who come to me at HealAtScale, they've done too much of this one-on-one, and we're asking them to like raise their price to 7.5K and then sell more of a group program at 1.5K for 12 weeks, which is also 3 months, right? And then they're leveraging their time. So that 1 hour they would normally spend with a client, they're spending it with a group program full of 50, 100, 250, 500 people. And therefore they're leveraging their time and they're getting a much higher ROI, right? Because do the math on that. If they had 50 people in a 1.5K program, that's 75K, right? So they're making 75K as opposed to if they got those 4 clients in a month, or they're only making 20K. So the people who come to me are looking for that kind of leverage. So what I want you to do is I want you to hold in your mind, what is the main thing that you want to sell? And then we're going to backwards engineer what we should be doing to get new clients in the new year in a way that leverages your time as much as humanly possible. Okay. So if we say to ourselves, okay, in this main offer, we know that there are a few things that we have to do for these clients in order to get them a win. Okay. Now, if we think about a small thing that we could do for these clients, the clients that would be perfect for this offer right here. Okay. So you want to think about your people who you want to sell your main offer to. And now I want you to ask yourself, okay, what is something that I could do that would not be a really expensive price, okay? But it would be an inexpensive price, and I could get them a small win. I could get them a step in the right direction towards taking the doing the full protocol with me inside the main offer that I want to sell, okay? Well, for some of you, it might be as simple as, okay, well, I wish I could get them to read a book. And a book might cost them, I don't know what your book costs. Me, my book is $9.95 at getcashpayclients.com, right? So $9.95 for someone who would be interested in investing in a mastermind with me for them to get to 83.3K a month. So they have $1 million in revenue. Like that $9.95 ask is a small ask compared to what they would be doing with me if they came into my mastermind, right? So that book would get them absolute clarity on the number one performing funnel for my mastermind members. Okay. So that would be a good win for them to be headed in the right direction, to understand how to release, how to create, how to replicate the most profitable funnel for my entire practitioner community. Okay. So can you see how that would be a small win? And if they did that, they would be like, yes, give me more of that. Like, okay, I have this amazing thing that's about bringing in clients for me. I love it. It's a lab test funnel, by the way. Okay. So we'll use that as our example. We'll use a lab test funnel as our example. If they had that lab test funnel turned on and working, they would be like, this is bananas. This is so cool. I want more of this. I want more ways of bringing in high value cash pay clients to my practice or health business. Let's go. Like if that worked, what else do you have? Let's put systems in place so my business makes more money and gives me more free time, right? It would be a step in the right direction. So since you're in the health space, let's go ahead and look at something like offering them a lab test. Okay. So let's say that your main offer, there is an entry level priced lab test that would point them in the right direction. And you guys, this entry level price thing, it could be a lot of different things. Okay. So for me, I mentioned I have a book funnel. Okay. Some people will do a paid workshop. Okay. And that paid workshop helps them take one major step in the right direction. So they get proof for themselves that they can do it. And they get proof for themselves that you're the right leader, right? They also get camaraderie in the community, right? So a paid workshop could work, an upfront lab test could work. Okay. These are all things that could be relatively low barrier to entry. And we could organize a campaign to invite people to this lower end offer as a leveraged sales tool to get more people to ascend up into the main offer that you want them to buy. Okay. You guys following me so far? If not, post in chat and let me clarify. Okay. But I think this should be pretty clear for you, because what we were doing over here is just like post, like we're going on social and we're sending emails and we're dimming people's in chats and we're taking all these free consults, all in effort to sell this main thing that is probably kind of expensive for someone who's newer to you. So instead, what I'm saying is let's get clients lined up early with something that is a no-brainer to say yes to. And we can pitch it to them now so that we have a whole bunch of clients lined up on one session, on one workshop, rather than having to do 20, 50, 100 different consults to land a few clients. What if we could get a lot of interested people onto one Zoom call and you could show off your genius and help them get over one small hurdle? And in doing so, you show off your expertise, you show them what's possible, you've served them in a way that makes you the obvious choice to help them. And then at the end, you invite them to go ahead and take that bigger action with you. And because they've already had some interaction with you, because you've already helped them take one small step in the right direction of their own recovery or getting back to the health objectives that they want, well, then you become the obvious choice for them to get all the way there. Does that make sense? Okay. So I want you to think through one of these things that could work for you. Okay. If you already have some sort of an ebook or a regular book, that works great. If you could host a workshop on one small win that you could get your people, what's one tiny step in the right direction that they have to take? Is it a detox? You know, that could be a perfect example. Is it like a little mini cleanse? So, okay, before we even start looking at anything, we're just going to try to bring your body back to homeostasis. Anything. This paid workshop could literally be anything that gets them the first step in the right direction. As a matter of fact, you guys, it might be something that comes from your main offer, right? So it might be an initial step that they would normally be taking with you when they invest in that bigger package. It could be a subset of that, right? An initial step they have to take. Or if you find that lab testing is something that you normally do in the beginning, why not just offer them the lab test, access to the lab test, get all of those people who are interested in looking at that data, right? So, for example, if your audience is people who are struggling with their hormones, I'm talking about your perimenopause or menopause crew. If we could have a symptoms-based conversation with them that says, hey, are you experiencing X, Y, and Z, like a symptom cluster? Are you experiencing these symptoms? That's not okay. You don't need to suffer through that. Let me give you access to the test that I trust for my patients and clients. And then we'll all come together as a community. I'll explain every single indicator on the test so that you understand what your highs and lows mean. And then I'll give you a 3-step action plan based on your test results. And I'll show you how you can execute that game plan with me if you would like to. Okay. So essentially, you're doing it's kind of like a consult, but you're doing a consult with a whole group full of people. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and select this one. So I'm going to say, I'm going to choose to do a lab test. Okay. Maybe I'm going to do a little ZRT action. It's not too expensive, that test, right? So it keeps me in the, $300 range, I think, even with some room for me to get paid the education and resource fee. Okay. So if I'm going to offer them this test, so I'm going to lead with the thing that I'm going to offer that's not that expensive. In my example is I'm going to say, I'm going to lead with the lab test. Okay. And what I'm going to say is not only am I going to give you access to that test, but I'm also going to host I'm going to host a Zoom event, an exclusive Zoom event just for everyone who's committed to investing in getting the data that they need to drive smart decisions about their health. And together, we're all going to bring our results and we're going to go over them together. Okay. So I could start making a little bit of upfront money as I'm filtering for the people who I want to buy my main offer up here. Do you see it? So we're already using that sort of lab test funnel logic of we're weeding out the freebie seekers and we're already filtering out the tire kickers, freebie seekers. And instead, we're having a conversation with people who are like, yeah, you know what? I'm done messing around with this. I want to know exactly what's going on. I want to see what's happening in my body. I'm totally interested in that test. Okay. So then they buy the test. As a bonus, okay, for investing in that test, they're also going to get access to a private, exclusive Zoom lab exploration. And you can call it whatever you want, but I'm going to call it a lab exploration session. Okay. So everyone who gets the lab test, everyone who invests in this lab test now, I am going to host a lab exploration session. You can bring your lab test results. I'm going to walk you through what each one of the indicators mean and share some stories of how my clients have expressed how they felt when they were high, when they were low. And then I will reveal my process for getting my patients and clients through this hormonal nightmare and back to feeling amazing like their beautiful selves again. Okay. So in essence, they're buying the lab test and they're getting access to a super cool, this makes them feel very VIP, right? It makes them feel like they get an exclusive lab exploration session with you. Okay. But you're not investing that time one-on-one. Instead, you can host a group session where you're going to bring all the people to look at all of their results at the same time. They're self-reviewing, right? Which makes sense if you think about it, you guys, because from a legal perspective, these people who buy an upfront lab test from you, they would be buying that test. You would be opting with your lab. You'll opt to use the physician services option because technically you don't want to be the ordering physician or the ordering practitioner on that lab test because you don't have any sort of like legal binding agreement with them where, you know, you've agreed to be their medical practitioner, their doctor, their coach. You don't have any of that agreement in place. So we want this to be ordered through a signing physician, which all of the big lab wholesalers have that. You guys, if you're not already familiar with that, like DM me and I'll connect you with labs that already have that option for you to keep you safe. Okay. So because we don't have patient agreements in place, coaching agreements in place, it's not our place to diagnose or treat these people on that session. It's simply an exploration where they get to understand every single indicator on that test. You can talk through it. You guys, that's where you get to show off your stuff. Okay. So imagine a Zoom call where you just get to show off how brilliant you are at talking through everything on your favorite test and sharing some stories of highs and lows from your own patients. And when you're doing that, like what's happening when you're sharing those stories of your patients? You're showing social proof that you have gotten other people success who've had the same struggles that those people are having. Does that make sense? Okay. So you're showing off your expertise. You're sharing social proof that you've already done this before, okay, which makes you look like both a genius and someone who has credibility in the space. And then you're going to say, all right, so everybody, now that we've gone through this and you've been looking at your own lab test results, I'm happy to take some questions from all of you. But first, I want to show you how do we put all of these highs and lows that we're seeing in the past. And then you would reveal a very rough outline like, hey, I find that we have to work, and you would roughly describe what you do. Now, this is where we want to get into how do we articulate what you do, what your process and protocol is without getting into the weeds. Okay. So obviously we're going to stay very high level by sharing things like, okay, well, initially we just need to start with a detox because there's so many things in our environment that can be disrupting our hormones. I'm sticking with the hormone example. Okay. So many things that can be disrupting our hormones. So I have a very particular detox strategy from there. And then, and I don't know what your protocol is, so bear with me as I just share a rough how I would explain it. Okay. So we're going to start with a very simple detox to make sure that it's not environmental things we're putting on our body, things in our home that are making this happen. And then we're going to move on to doing a quick repair of the gut because our hormone precursors are made in the gut. And if we don't have healthy, hormonal cells, if the cells are not, don't have healthy locks and keys on the outside of the cells, then they're not going to function properly. And then once we've got those two foundational building blocks out of the way, then we're going to look at all the things we can do to optimize your hormones and decide whether any bioidentical hormone replacement is needed at all. So that's roughly the process that I like to take my clients through. So they kind of know exactly what they have to do. Now, do they know how to detox? No, they need you for that, right? Do they know how to repair the gut lining so their hormone precursors are rock solid? No, they're going to need you for that. Okay. So can you see how you are revealing your protocol, but you're revealing your protocol in a very broad strokes kind of way. So you're not giving away all of your IP. I'm not asking you to work for free. I don't even want you, teaching these people on this session other than the broad strokes. I want them to see the broad strokes because as soon as they know you have a proven process that's gotten results for other people in the past, well, then yippee, right? We're off to the races. They can trust you more because you're sharing success stories. They can trust you more because they hear you talking about these tests and how you understand what all these indicators mean. And they don't know that, you guys. So you're going to look like a rock star. Okay. So that's what I want for you. So we're going to offer them the upfront lab. This is a much lower cost than this up here. Okay. And then we're going to make them feel special by inviting them to a lab exploration session together. And on that lab exploration session, that is where we're going to ascend them, okay, into investing in the bigger package with you. So this is where they get the opportunity to move from the lab test results into resolving the problems that they see with you. Okay. Now, here's the thing. You need to be ready to pitch that offer at the end. Okay. So you need to have a nice, smooth transition that says, hey, we've all gone over our labs together. I want to make sure that you all know I have a proven process for putting the problems that you're finding on these tests in the rearview mirror. You're going to share your broad strokes, and then you're going to let them know exactly what the investment is to work for you. And if you're smart and you want to maximize sales, you can even lean into sunk cost syndrome. Okay. Sunk cost syndrome is when people have already sunk a little bit of money into something. Okay. So let's say that this test was, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm going to call it, let's say that the test was $400. Okay. The test was $400 because I think that's about right. The cost is $300. So there's a $100 education and resource fee in there for you. So you're getting paid to do your marketing. That's not really what we're after here. We're after using this investment to get them to show up on this investment, which is really a call to action for you to get them to invest in the longer term program with you, whether that's a 3 month, 6 month stint of working with you, or whether that's your group program. It doesn't matter to me. It's the main offer that you decided you want to sell a shit ton more of those in 2026. Okay. So we get them on that session and we can say, hey, because you have already been wise enough to invest in this lab test for yourself, I'm going to let everyone who enrolls right now on this call today apply that $400 to the 5K investment with me, which means you're going to get it for $4,600. Okay. So in essence, we've motivated the sale by giving them access to apply that lab test to the larger investment of working with us. Does that make sense? Okay. So this is a way that lets you interact with people at an entry level price. Okay. Because right now, somebody even kind of mulling over and thinking with you, like, or thinking of working with you right now, like right before Christmas, when they're buying all these presents and they have to travel to see their family, and there might be a lot of expenses in that month of December, making the improvement in their own health more cost effective by saying, hey, when all of your friends are setting their New Year's resolutions, you're going to be ahead of the game because you're going to already have the data that you need to drive smart decisions about your health. Then you're going to make them feel special. And then I'm going to have a private, and this is where they're going to feel special, okay, lab exploration session just for this community. And we're going to go over what all of those indicators mean. And I'm going to reveal the broad strokes of my plan for putting whatever problems might show up on that test into the rearview mirror permanently. Okay. And then, of course, on that session, you're actually enrolling them in applying that lab test cost to work with you. And then you can sell much more people into the main offer that you want to work, that you are hoping to sell a ton of in 2026. And you can do that in a way that's highly leveraged, right? So instead of having one-on-one interpretation sessions with all of those people who said yes to that lab test in your community, you're actually having a crew of people come together. Now, that's really powerful because it leverages your time. But for those of you who are choosing to sell group programs as opposed to trying to sell a ton of one-on-one options, for those of you who are heavily leaning into leveraging your expertise by moving people into community programs, like group programs, well, they're already experiencing the power of the group in this Zoom session, right? So they're already going to see, oh my God, I'm not alone. And when people are asking questions, they're going, oh my God, that's a great question. I didn't think to answer that question. You're already setting them up to harvest all of the benefits of being in a community of people who are experiencing the same health challenges. And that's a win for those of you who are looking to sell more group offers in the new year. Okay. Now, I realize that when you do this, there's probably a lot of questions that are going to come up. Okay. I realize that some of you are going to struggle with, well, I'm not even clear on what the main thing that I want to sell. Obviously, as entrepreneurs, y'all need to be very clear on the main thing that you want to sell. Okay. So I'm going to assume most of you will have that pretty well laid out. Okay. So you're pretty clear what you would want to sell the most of in 2026. I'm going to assume you're pretty well dialed in there, whether that's, oh, I just want to sell more initial consultations, or I want to sell my initial consultations that lead into a 3-month package, a 6-month package, whatever your jam is. I'm going to assume you're pretty clear on that piece. Okay. But it can be challenging to think through, well, what is a logical, less expensive upfront offer, an initial offer that is really cost effective and can get my clients something, some form of a win, right? So can you see how having the data, like seeing their own body's results where they're at, that would be a huge win for them. Why? Because they're like, oh my God, I'm not crazy. Look at these numbers. These are high, these are low. Of course, this is starting to assuage their concerns that especially if they've been ignored, you guys, like by other practitioners who haven't helped them, they can start to feel like, am I crazy? Is this all in my head? Do I have some rare disease that hasn't been discovered yet? Right? We're going to put the kibosh on all of that. And they're actually going to have some sanity saving confirmation that something is going on in their body. So an upfront lab test shows that. If you were to choose instead to offer a book, well, obviously, you know what the benefits of your book is. Your book is solving a problem. And if they want to have help solving that problem, then they're going to enroll in working with you. Okay. If you want to do a workshop, then you need to think through what is one small piece of action that I take with my clients that gets them a win. Whether if you're in the weight loss space, they actually start to see the scale go down. If you're helping them with skin, they actually start to see a visceral change in the way that their skin looks. Anything, right? So what are some of the initial things that you already do with people that you know starts to turn things around? Those would be great ideas as your entry level offer. But I get it can be very difficult to think through it. Okay. So for those of you who are like, Joy, this is second nature for you, but I don't know how to do that. I asked Travis to revise some custom GPTs that we have. We initially used these GPTs for protocol to program AI fast track. And protocol to program AI fast track is just a 3-day process to help you turn your favorite protocol into a scalable online program and put together a marketing plan for that. So I asked him, could we revise or rework some of those custom GPTs specifically to work for a new client harvesting campaign? And of course, because he's amazing and he's a technical genius, he said yes, he was happy to help the community do that. So what we have done is put together a series of custom GPTs, an AI powered process that will simply ask you a whole bunch of questions. So you'll have to answer the questions. Okay, who are you trying to serve? And what are you trying to help them do? And how do you go about doing that? And what are the some early steps? You'll be answering questions basically. And what you will be able to walk away from as a result of interacting with these GPTs and this AI powered process is you will come up with a complete offer document, an invitation for you to share with your email list, with your social media followers, and ask, and your existing clients, right? There may be some existing clients that want in on this too. Okay. So you'll be able to use this to send your audience to and explain exactly what you're up to. Okay, here's what we're up to. I'm going to give you access to this test. Here's why I love it. Here's why you need it. Here's how this data is going to help you. And then as a bonus for you being proactive about your health and getting the data that you need to make smart decisions, here's what I'm going to do. I'm hosting this lab exploration session. Obviously, I'm using my example, but you're going to know exactly what your offer is. And your offer invitation is going to explain exactly what's happening, exactly what you're promoting that they do, exactly what the price is, who it's for, who it's not for. Okay. Now, that's typically something that you might see on a sales page, like a landing page for an offer. But what we're going to help you do is set it up as a very simple Google document. Okay. So you don't have a tech nightmare of building out an entire funnel for this New Year's offer. You don't need to do that. As a matter of fact, it can feel a little more VIP, a little more private access, a little more special, a little more intimate. If we send them and we're doing these posts and we're doing these emails, okay, that invite them to come and see this invitation. It just feels more private, you guys. So you're going to walk away with that entire offer invitation completely done and ready to share with your people. But once that offer document is ready, how are we going to get eyeballs on it? Okay. So he's also created us a separate GPT that is going to help us take that offer invitation, and we're going to turn it into social media posts and emails so that we have everything we need to promote the attention of our audience to that offer. So they'll click through it and read it and get inspired to join us. And then in order for you to be able to rock that workshop, we're going to give you a third and final GPT that helps you outline, okay, how do I get in front of these people and deliver what I wanted to deliver for your workshop, for your lab exploration session, whatever you decide to do. It's going to help you come through. It's going to help you come up with your idea. So you're going to come up with your idea. We're going to make the offer invitation document. We're going to make all of the social media promotions. We're going to make all of the email promotions that will send people to it. And then you'll have a general outline of exactly what you're going to do on that live session. Okay. We'll make it clear exactly, okay, what days should you be posting? What days should you be sending email? So you'll have a timeline for this process and without a ton of tech nightmare. Okay. All you guys are going to do once you have the offer invitation, you're just going to make a simple Google document. That's it. You're going to take all of the offer invitation and you're going to paste it into a simple Google document. Okay. And then you're going to have the social media posts and the emails to point to that document. And then you will have the outline for what you will be delivering in the Zoom that you'll host. So if you know how to create a new Google document and you know how to host a Zoom call, then that is the technical challenge that you will be facing. Okay. I guess the only other third technical challenge is that you have to interact with the GPTs, right? So you do have to answer the questions that the GPT asks you. Okay. So, and you have to, go back and forth with it. So you absolutely love it. Okay. But rather than forcing you to build a new landing page and an order form and a thank you page and a huge fulfillment sequence and getting all the emails automated and building some complicated campaign, what we're asking you to do is simply make a Google document, okay? Come up with your offer, which we'll do together. Come up with your offer, make a simple offer invitation as a Google document, and then you are ready to go. You can post the social media post and send the emails that connect directly to that offer invitation. It explains everything. It has a link for them to pay. And you guys do not have to overcomplicate this. Okay. If you just want to send it a link to Stripe or PayPal or whatever is the easiest form for you to take money, you can totally do that. Okay. You can totally do that. Now, I like to use my CRM because I'm lazy. I want all of my follow-up communications automated, but that's not necessary. If you just want to give yourself a rock solid foundation and the certainty that you're going to get a little bit of money up front to pay yourself for the marketing because they're going to pay for this initial offer. And that's going to roll into you hosting a Zoom call that has a conversation with a community of people that shows off your knowledge, shows how much you care, shares stories of social proof, other people that you've got results for, and invites them to get those same results with you at the end of that free Zoom call that's a part of the offer. Okay. So that is the simple overview of the New Year clients, of how I am loving getting our audience to get New Year clients lined up for the new year. If you struggle to do that, if you're like, I don't know how to make the offer document, I don't know how to make the social media posts, God forbid I have to write emails to get people interested in buying this thing, and I get a total nervous butterfly kind of feeling if I even think about hosting the Zoom, I don't know what to say. I need an outline for that to keep me on the rails, and I certainly need help bridging that content that I'll share on the Zoom into an invitation to work with me. Totally normal. Healers don't love the selling part. That will be at the tail end of your content outline. Okay. So if you don't want to do that on your own and you would like to come and do that as a community together, we are hosting a workshop for you to get this done in 3 hours. Okay. 3 hours to get your entire offer document built, done, ready to send people to, plus the social media promotions to send people to that offer document, which is just an invitation and explains exactly what you're offering, exactly what the price is, exactly what's in it for them, and then invites and lets them know you'll host a session in early January. We're all going to be going over it together. And that is your early January group sales consult. Basically, you get to show up, show off your stuff, and at the very end, you get to invite them to ascend into working with you. Okay. If you want to get all of that done together in one straight 3-hour working block, we have put together a workshop where you don't have to do this alone. Okay. You are going to come. We're going to explain the entire process. We're going to set you to work with the GPTs. We'll be there to support you through it so that if you get stuck, you can just ask questions, right? We'll just make sure that you get it done. We'll do it backwards, just like we talked about today. So we'll have you get really clear on like, okay, what are the ideas that I could come up with that would be a really reasonably priced, entry level priced offer that would get my target audience excited to come and be with me. Okay. So they buy that, whether it's a lab test funnel, whether it's a workshop you want to host, it doesn't matter to me. Anything that we can offer them that will be low priced. Okay. And it's going to help you brainstorm. So if you're the type that's like, I feel totally stumped, I totally don't know what to do, don't worry about that. That's why we built the GPT to poke your little brain and ask you questions that will get you inspired to come up with ideas for entry level priced offers. Okay. So once we come up with that idea, then we'll move on to make the offer invitation documents. Okay. Again, if you struggle with the GPT, we'll be there. You'll raise your hand. We'll help you get through it. And then once we're clear on what that offer is, now the AI is going to be much more empowered to create really awesome, high converting social media posts and emails that will bring attention to your audience and bring them over to that invitation doc where they can say yes to that. Okay. And then we need to support you in showing up like the rock star that you are by helping you to create a content outline for that early January Zoom that you're going to host. Okay. Now, here's what I want you to think of this as. I know a lot of you who've picked up my book, you understand that I'm a firm believer that instead of you guys giving away a bunch of, free content on free platforms, that also then leads to, free ebooks or free webinars or more free stuff. I am a firm believer that can end you up with that can land you an audience of tire kickers and freebie seekers and people who are really not that committed to their health because they're just used to getting nothing but free stuff from you. Okay. So this is an example of how we can stop doing free. And we can go, hey, I'm going to have free conversations for you on social media and in my email about what's going on with your body. And I'm going to turn on the lights for what we need to do as an initial first step to start addressing that problem so we can put it in the rearview mirror. Okay. And then if they want to take that first step, let's have them get a little bit of skin in the game. Okay. If they buy an inexpensive lab test, if they buy a workshop with you to solve a very specific problem, you could host a group initial cleanse. You could host a detox. You could host anything that you want. I'm just asking that you ask them to put a little bit of skin in the game so that you're now interacting with a higher quality of prospects. Okay. People who are willing to put a little bit of skin in the game in order to get the results that they say they want, right? Because if they say they want it, but it doesn't show up on their calendar, it doesn't show up in their bank statements that they're actually spending money on solving that problem, if they're not putting attention on it, then they're really not that committed to solving it, which means you're going to be wasting your time with too many people on too many consults that don't go anywhere and you don't land any clients. And that's a really fast and awful way for you to lose the passion for what you're doing, for what you're so good at. Okay. So we're going to get that offer document. We're going to come up with the idea for your offer. Then we're going to create the offer invitation. It's a simple Google document, no tech, no building a sales page, easy peasy. And then we'll come up with the promotions, both on social media and via email, to send people to that offer. And then we will get you set up to show off your stuff in a Zoom session by helping you create your curriculum outline for the live Zoom session that you will host. Okay. Now, I want you to scan this code that's on screen if you're interested in coming and doing that with us. Okay. That investment is $95. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself two things. What are you doing in 3 hours that it's not worth $95 to have your entire January new client process set up and done in just 3 hours? Because I don't know about you, but I can sit staring at a blank page if I'm not careful. And instead, you're just going to land right in. You're going to start using the GPTs right from the beginning. We'll do a brief description of, okay, this is what we're up to. This is why we're doing it. So we will re-presence you to that. And then we'll go right into using the GPTs and supporting each other in getting our offers on the table. or offer invitation done. Once everyone has done that, then of course we'll move on to the second half, which is the social media and email and the outline for you to do that. Okay. So I want to do this as a cost-effective way for you to not waste time, not put it off, and actually get it done. Because it's the 9th right now. Okay. By the time we get to the 20th, all minds are going to be on Christmas. All bets are off. You're not going to be focusing on your business. And so I want you to be able to just get this done in a solid block of time. Okay. So we are doing this next Tuesday from noon to 3. Okay. Next Tuesday from noon to 3. If you cannot join us live, if you invest in this workshop for yourself, you will get the recordings, you will get the GPTs, you will get the custom GPTs, and you certainly could do it in your own time. But my preference is this. If there is any way for you to bend time, for you to shift your schedule, for you to prioritize profits right when your January, 2026 year starts, I would rather that you're there to get the support of the community, to get your questions answered. If you get stumped at any point, I would rather be there to pick you up when you stumble. So if there's any way you can join us live, please do that. If you can't, invest in it for yourself and then DM me questions if you get stuck, if you stumble at all. Okay. My goal here is that all of us in this community have a January session scheduled where we're going to get to show off our expertise in front of a committed group of people who invested a little bit upfront to show that they're in it. They're not just freebie seekers, but they're actually in the game of putting their problems in the past. Okay. I want all of us to have that kind of an at bat. Okay. Not a webinar with freebie seekers, but actually you showing off your stuff in front of an audience of people that were smart enough to invest in the initial low cost upfront offer that you're going to come up with at this event. Okay. The second reason that I'm doing this is because I am leading by example. Okay. That is a paid event. So what you're seeing over there, like if you enroll in that, that is a paid event. Okay. So I am making sure myself, I'm leading by example here, right? I am not going to take the time to give tools and, ChatGPT assets, like custom GPT assets that we've made, AI tools that we've made for the members of our Practitioner Accelerator Mastermind. I'm not just going to give those to people outside of our community unless they are showing that they are committed to their own success. Okay. So I am showing you by example exactly what I hope that you do. Okay. So I'm going to have you on this event. We're going to have Travis with us. If you've not met Travis yet, you're going to love him. Not only is he a tech genius, but he is a AI powerhouse, and he is the one who is creating all of these custom GPTs. It used to be that I would make these long, complicated prompt stacks, and I still do love prompt stacks because it gives you guys a lot of freedom to customize them. But it's a lot faster and easier if they're built into GPTs, that instead of you having to fill in certain parts of the prompts before you put it in your AI tool, we just train the AI tool to ask you those questions and then it runs the prompts auto-magically. Okay. So it's gangster. He's genius. And he'll show you lots of fun tips and tricks to get this done really, really quickly. Okay. So if you want to have your offer ready, you want to have your promotions ready, and you want to have an outline to show up on that Zoom, which is basically a group sales call into your main offer, you're going to have the offer, the promotions, and the outline done if you join us for that event that is happening next Tuesday. Okay. So come join us, get it done all in one 3-hour block, and walk away with your entire New Year, New Clients campaign ready to rock. Okay. I don't want you to be a brand that is struggling in the new year. Okay. If you're trying to do client outreach in the new year when everyone else has already beat you to the punch, you're going to miss out on one of the most profitable times for functional and holistic practitioners in the calendar year. Why? Because at the new year, everyone's setting their New Year's resolutions. Everyone's like, okay, I got through the holidays. Maybe I ate a little more, Christmas pudding than I probably should have. Maybe I've been putting off waking up in night sweats multiple nights a week for too long. I need to do something about this. It's the time where people are culturally trained to take better care of themselves, to set their sights on what they really, really want. And if we have an offer ready now, we are going to be the brand that's already kind of been like buzzing in their ear that, like, hey, let's get ahead of this. Like, let's go ahead and get the test ordered now. And then right that first or second week of January, whenever you want to host it, let's get together and let's do the work right away to put these problems in the rear view mirror. While all of your friends are just setting their resolutions, you're already going to be one major step towards having that done because you've taken this small action for yourself. Okay. So I want you to have this ready because I do not want to hear sad stories of low profits in January because all of us were so focused on the holidays that we forgot to focus on our business at all. Okay. So I'm asking for 3 hours. Okay. If that 3 hours and an investment of $95 to get all of these GPTs and all the recordings in case you want to do it again next year. Okay. If that's what's on deck for you, just think about the ROI on that. Okay. So ask yourself what one client is worth to you. If you make 5K on a 2 or 3 month package, or if you make 7.5K, 10K, which is more the average of the practitioners in my community, the ROI on that 3 hours and that $95 investment is kind of bananas. Okay. So even if you landed one client, okay, but what are the chances of you inviting your entire community, your entire following, that nobody says yes to your upfront offer? Nobody wants in on your VIP lab exploration session or whatever you come up with your offer. Like, what are the chances that nobody wants that? Like, slim to none. If you have been putting yourself out there and providing good content and serving your audience, chances are they would jump at the chance at an entry level interaction with you that doesn't cost them the full kit and caboodle of your main offer, 5, 7, 10K, but they can actually get a little taste of your excellence and your help. Chances are, if you have developed any relationship at all with your audience, they're going to say, oh my God, yeah, like I've been wanting to work with this person, but I haven't been ready to make that investment. Let's get their foot in the door with you so that in January, you can bust that door wide open for so many more people to experience your excellent help. All right. So that's what we're up to. It's happening live Tuesday, noon to 3 p.m. Pacific time. My preference is that you shift things around and are there to be able to join us, get support, get your hand held as we get everybody across the finish line. Okay. In the event that you can't do that, then go ahead and get yourself registered, do it at your own pace, and then DM me any of the questions that come up. Okay. But I do not want you staring at a blank screen, wondering what the hell you should do to make sure that you're set in January. I would rather that you plant that seed now and we're harvesting a healthy, abundant crop of new clients for you right in the beginning of January. Okay. We'll talk about ideal date placement. I think, like, don't do it on New Year's Day, right? Like, we want to give them a little bit of time to get home from their Christmas travels. But I want you to be hosting an interactive, engaging, fun community session for a community of people that are all experiencing the same health challenges. Put them together. They need each other, right? We're herd animals. We do better in a community. And I want you to be able to treat that as a beautiful way to show off your expertise and then make a compelling invitation to go even further with you by opting into enrolling into your main offer. Okay. So we're going to get them in the door. We're going to show off your knowledge at the live session, group sales call, and then we're going to ascend as many people as we can into your higher ticket group offer or main offer. Okay. All right. Come prepared. Okay. So I want you to know, I want you to think, well, if I could sell a ton of this XYZ, whatever it is. Okay. If I could sell a ton of these in 2026, this is exactly what I want to sell. I want to work with people one-on-one. I have a 2, 3, 4 month group package. I want to sell that. Or I'm actually kind of tired of working one-on-one. I really want to sell a community of people into my group program. Fine, great. But I want you to have that vision of what you would love to sell the most of ready in January. Why? Because we need to reverse engineer. Okay, if that's what you want to sell, what is the stepping stone to getting people there? A paid stepping stone. So we know that they're good leads for you. Okay. But what is the paid stepping stone? And I realized that if you're a healer, if you're just a natural healer, you might not necessarily also have the mindset. It might not be your area of genius to kind of think through or reverse engineer what are the offers that are going to get them there. Okay. And we acknowledge that, we realize that, lean into us. We're here for you. That's why we built this workshop and we have the GPTs ready for you. Some of you already can see this. You're already like, oh my God, yes, I know exactly what I want to offer. I know exactly what I would teach on the workshop, and I know exactly how to ascend them into my main offer. Good, go. Just take this concept and run with it. Some of you who are health entrepreneurs is like naturally, and that's your jam, like go for it. Like get out, get it done for sure. I want you guys to do this. But for those of you who feel a little bit like, oh my God, I would much rather answer questions for a GPT and have it spit out a first draft answer for me, and then we refine it. And I definitely don't want to write all those social media posts and emails. I would rather have an automated process for that. Then come, let's get it done together. Let's get it done fast. And let's get your questions answered on that call to make sure there's nothing in the way for you to deploy this very low tech, very simple campaign to make sure you start 2026 off with really abundantly. Okay. Any questions? I'm just going to move over to chat. If you guys have questions about this, you can throw it in the chat. I'm happy to answer. I will also throw up here really quick my Instagram. It might have an interesting call to action on it. Oh yeah. It says for affordable help. I just had a conversation with the woman who owns the agency that found my amazing executive assistant. Her name is Sai. I love you, Sai. You're amazing. And so that affordable help is set up for me to that if you DM me that word, then it will start a conversation where I can ask you what you need and then do an email intro directly to her so she can find you someone. So that DM me affordable help was about a different conversation. Don't worry about that. You can scan it and it will take you straight to my Instagram page. I'm very interactive on there. So if you have a question about this workshop, or if you invest in the workshop and you can't be there live and then you have questions, that's a fast path to me. When you purchase, you'll also get an email directly like from me. So you can reply that if you have questions about what you see in the recorded version of the workshop. But my preference, you guys, please like make time for yourself. 3 hours now. This is like, a stitch in time saves 9, right? 3 hours now to make sure that January is abundant. My preference is that you're able to clear your schedule, shift things around a little bit, be there with us live, and let's just get it done together. All right. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Happy holidays to you all. I will see you a couple times before Christmas, and hopefully I will see you at the workshop, the New Year, New Clients workshop. It would be my absolute honor and my team's honor to help you fill your calendar for January early so you feel